provide an example when you accommodated diverse learning needs in your classroom?
An example would be one of my students who struggles with note-taking. What I did for this student was I prepared a set of notes for them off of my PowerPoint slides so that this student could follow along with my notes as well as add additional notes to these. This enabled the student to keep up with this notes, and this helped my student, this provided my student with diverse needs and prepared them for their needs and prepared them and kept them up with the note-taking.
What challenges do you think you face in meeting the diverse learning needs in your classroom?
I believe that the most difficult challenge that I would face to meet the diverse needs of my classroom would be the fact that I am going to have several different classes, multiple classes of many students, very large classes, and each student has a diverse need. I'm going to have students with ESL needs. I'm going to have students with 504s and IEPs, and trying to balance the needs of all of those students as well as the needs of students who do not have those individualized plans, and making sure that every student gets the necessary attentions. I think that's going to be my greatest challenge.
Elizabeth, could you ask the one before that one more time about an example?
In your current classroom setting, could you please provide an example of when you met the diverse needs of your students?
An example of a time when I met the diverse needs of one of my students would be a specific time when one of my students had troubles taking notes. She struggled with note taking. And what I did for her was I printed out the notes, my specific notes for our PowerPoints, and allowed her to copy down the notes and follow along with those notes. This provided her with the notes printed out so that when she fell behind, she wouldn't risk missing notes in the class, and she would be able to keep up with class. At the same time, she was able to add additional notes to those to help her remember and help her understand in her own perspective.
Yeah, that was good. That was clearer than the first one.
That's great.
We're getting a little bit of that, but I think we mostly have this mic, not the law of mic. So.
Okay, switching to Belize, today, what are your perceptions of the Belizean educational system and teacher practice?
I do not have much of a background knowledge on the Belizean education system. I do know that it is based on the education system from England. I also know that their history education is very different from that of ours here. My opinion is that they do not really have the resources and the technology there that I think that some students really need to be able to succeed and to be able to make understanding history relevant to them and to make it interesting to them. I believe that for students of history, it's important to have these different resources and this technology to be able to really feel like they're a part of their learning.
What do you envision today it will be like teaching there?
I think that it's going to be a struggle. I think that today I feel like teaching in Belize is going to be a very big challenge for me. I know that I am not fully prepared for the content that I'm going to be teaching there. I do not know a lot about the government in Belize or the history of the government in Belize. I know some things about the Mayan civilization and the ancient histories of Belize, but compared to my knowledge of my content here, which I'm fully knowledgeable about, my knowledge of the content in Belize I'm not. So I know that's going to be a very big struggle for me.
What are you doing today to prepare for teaching in Belize?
In order to prepare for teaching in Belize, what I have done is I have found the standard course of study for Belize, and I have been looking up that for the history subjects. I do not know what level of history I will be teaching and what specific content area of history I will be teaching, but I have looked up the various content areas that they have, including their civics area and their different levels, their ancient history and their current or their overall history. So I'm trying to learn that the best that I can.
Are you preparing in advance any instructional lessons before you go, or are you going to wait till you get there to plan your teaching?
I'm doing a little bit of both. I'm planning some lessons here for instruction there, and I'm also waiting to plan the bulk of my lessons when I get there. One lesson that I have planned here that I would like to do when I get to Belize is a lesson on the demographics of the country. what I have done here with my classroom here is I had them investigate their classroom heritage, and they created family crests. And I had them present these family crests. We also put the family crests on, or their family heritage on a map, so that they could understand where we all come from as a class and how our unique backgrounds build us together and create our classroom image. And I am taking these crests with me to Belize, and I'm going to give them to my students in Belize, and I'm going to have them create their own family crest or a project similar where they can show their demographics and learn about their backgrounds. And I'm going to see if I can bring these back with me to America so that I can teach my 2 different classrooms how the demographics in Belize are very different to the demographics in America and why they are that way.
What is your purpose in your mind for teaching in Belize?
I would like to have the experience to learn about different cultures, and that is my purpose for teaching in Belize. I want to challenge myself to have the experience to learn about diverse cultures and also to teach diverse cultures and diverse students. It will strengthen my ability to teach my own diverse students, and at the same time I want to learn about diverse education systems. This will broaden my understanding about different education systems and how they function, and I think that it will also contribute to the education system in Belize to help these students there and these teachers there to understand different education systems around the world.
And how do you think it will affect you when you come back to teach in America?
I believe that teaching in Belize will help me when I come back to America to understand that there are other ways to instruct and that I do not need to have the most technologically savvy classroom. I don't need to have all of the resources to be a successful teacher. At the same time, I think that it's going to open my mind and open my eyes to different methods and different strategies of teaching, and it's also going to make me more sensitive to the needs of different students in my classroom.